My spouse is at their wits' end with my depression, and I don't know what to do. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a Christian marriage coach, and there were a couple of questions in the groups that I follow that kind of was around this topic, so I wanted to talk about it. So I have 3.5 thoughts on this. First of all, though, have you ever connected with this? Have you ever? So the posts were talking about things like, I keep doing the same thing over and over again. My husband gets so frustrated at me trying to vent to him and then sort of just trying to fix the problem. Nothing ever changes. One person kept thinking and thinking and thinking about what was wrong and what the husband did wrong, what they did wrong, and it sort of turned into this guilt spiral that kind of pressed that person down into the pit. Have you ever been there? I think we've all been there in our own ways. Some people are there a lot and in a deep way. So let me give you three points. 3 points, okay? Like a good like any good sermon, 3 points. This is not a sermon. The first point is a point about communication, that as you and your spouse are interacting, the one person specifically noted that her husband was being very solutions focused. We'll just say the classic way to say it is the husband was trying to fix the spouse, the wife. The husband was trying to fix the wife. That is not going. It's never good communication, but certainly with someone facing kind of the depths of depression, it is not the way to go. And I actually have a tool that can help with that. It is my free marriage communication workshop, How to Stop Fighting with Your Spouse for Christian Couples. And in that workshop, we talk about a marriage communication skill called active listening. And what that skill lets you do is it helps save the fixers in us from trying to fix. And it can be revolutionary in marriage communication. It helps save my marriage. I know a ton of other people that it has helped save their marriage. If your husband or wife can't stop fixing your complaints while you're communicating, use the link in this video, in the description or comments of this video, to sign up for my marriage communication workshop, How to Stop Fighting with Your Spouse for Christian Couples. So from a communication standpoint, you have to let the other person be. You have to let them be. Be an active listener and just be there with them. You do not want to fall into the trap of trying to fix, especially when someone is dealing with depression. Okay, for the person who is feeling down and depressed. So depression is it's just a hard, almost trapping kind of experience. And so I want to just appreciate that anything that I say is going to be helpful, but it's going to be hard. The first thing to think about is the person who's depressed will need to fight hard for worship. Now, I'm asking the person to fight hard, and the trouble is that they don't have any energy to fight hard. It's like, it would be like trying to tell a person in the desert that they need to water their palm tree. Well, there's no water. So fighting for worship feels exhausting. And what I mean by worship is that sense that God is with you, he loves you, and he is enough for you, right? To really and deeply worship God, not to escape from your feelings, but to worship Jesus and for what he did for you, right? But that fight is exhausting. The good news about that is 2 Corinthians 12:9 talks about the fact that our God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. So I want you to anticipate that as you seek to worship God in your weakness, right there where it feels hardest and most impossible, he will show up. He has promised that his strength is made perfect in your weakness. And you will find that you will have energy from God, at least as much energy as God has determined that you need to worship him. This is a very different approach from anything that means trying to get away from your feelings. We're talking about find God in your feelings. Psalm 130 is basically a psalm that starts in the pit. And what happens in that, the movement of that psalm is not out of the pit, but it's realizing that the author thought they were sitting in a pit alone, and they start realizing that they're sitting in a pit with God and with the people of God. That's the movement of the whole psalm. The whole psalm starts and stops inside the pit. So I hope this is helpful. So communication is a big part of supporting someone in a depressed situation. Learn how to communicate with them. Check out my free communication training. Secondly, fight for worship. And whenever you don't feel like you have the strength to fight anymore, lean into God's strength in your weakness. He will show up. He has promised. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever been in some deep and dark depression? Now, other than meds, which people should consider meds, other than meds though, what helped you get out of that deep and dark pit? How did you maintain a marriage when you were in a pit like that? Leave me a comment in below this video, and let's try and help people together. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.